Welcome to Maths. Hello everyone. Thanks for joining. In this session, we're gonna see like Python interview questions part 1. Folks, visit us at our YouTube channel Maths. I'm very happy to inform you all that our learning corpus is getting increased day by day by adding a new content to it. Thanks for all who are actually being part of it. Uh, Please feel free to subscribe the channel if you have not. Thank you for all your support, guys. Here is our today's agenda. What is Python? Python is high level interpreted programming language. Python is known for its readability, simplicity, and versatility. Python supports multiple programming paradigms such as object-oriented, procedural, and functional programming. Python also has a large and comprehensive standard library as well as many third-party modules and frameworks that extend its functionality. Some of the popular domains that in Python uses are web development, data science, machine learning, automation, scripting, gaming, and so on. If you have installed Python interpreter on your system, you can see which version got installed by typing a keyword called Python. So if you could see in my screen, I can see my installed interpreter Python 3.12.7. You have some kind of verbose, you can just go through it. Python shell is something you can see here. Okay, 3 greater than symbols, which means like now the shell is got started. What you could do as a user, you can interact with your Python by typing Python statements, executable statements. In case print hello my the spread means you are trying to print the message on your console. If it executes means after you type, you hit the enter button from your keyboard and then you would display this message, isn't it? You can also do like some kind of a math, 2 plus 3 gives 5, such a things. So this is like a very interactive interpreted programming language. What are the applications of Python? Python used in web development, software development, data science, machine learning, scientific computing, automation. Python is used to build websites and web applications. Python is used to create a software. Python is used to analyze the data as part of a data science. Python is used for machine learning in building a models. Python is used to scientific computing. Python is used to automate the tasks as part of software automation. What are the advantages or benefits of Python? Python software is a free to download. It's a open source. You don't need to purchase. You don't need to pay anything. Okay. Python is a beginner friendly. Python is considered as a beginner friendly language. Python has easy to read syntax. Python is an objective oriented programming language. Python is a dynamic language, meaning there is no type declaration in the source code. You have a data types, right? You don't need to declare type of the variable. Okay, based out of usage, the Python interprets what type that particular variable gonna store. Integrated well. Python integrates well with all types of the systems. Okay. Python can increase development speed. These are the some of the advantages or benefits of Python. Next, is Python an interpreted programming language or compiled programming language? Yes, Python is a interpreted programming language. When Python program is run, the Python interpreter executes the source code line by line after converting it into a bytecode. We can also say partially compiled, partially interpreted. The sense is compilation done when we execute first time and it generates a bytecode. Python virtual machine runs this bytecode on underlying platform, like in a operating system / hardware is known as a platform. Okay, the Python virtual machine takes care of it. So the way that Python program executes on the platform is different from other programming language like C, C++, Java, where the source code needs to be built and linked before it can be run. Whereas Python, you don't need to compile the code. You can actually execute the code as a snippet model. For instance, if you look at now, I have the few statements listed here. Print assigning a numbers, and then print each number what it holds. So I can execute these things without compiling the code, and hence Python is an interpreted programming language. How that would happen in C, C++, Java compiled programming languages. Let's say, for example, if you take a simple sample program of C++, right? So you can't run this as is. What you would do is, like, you first have to compile this code and generate a executable file, is also known as a exe file. Can you see my screen? Once I have this, now this you can run it. When you execute this, you will actually see the actual output on the platform. So this is the difference between the Python and with other high-level programming languages. Right? We can also differentiating by saying that Python is the interpreted programming language, and then C, C++, Java are compiled programming languages. Is Python platform dependent programming language or platform independent programming language? Dependent or independent? That was a question. The answer would be Python is a platform independent programming language, meaning Python program runs unchanged on most of the platforms. Python runs on every major platforms like Linux, Windows, Macintosh, Solaris, and many more. Python runs on an interpreter system, meaning the code can be executed as soon as it is written. Can you list out the reasons for Python popularity? Yes, Python is a free and open source, meaning Python interpreter is available in many platforms and free to use. You can download and straight away you can use it. It is easy to learn and then use. Simplified syntax, which gives more emphasis on natural language, can be easily written and executed much faster than any other programming languages and all. Python is a platform independent. It runs in many platforms like Linux, Windows, Macintosh, and all. Without any code modification, same Python program runs on most of the platforms. That's why I could call it as a Python is a platform independent. Python has a rich library set. Python uses many applications, right? So the one of the recent past popularly known to machine learning, data science, gaming, web development, and so on. Python can be integrated with C, C++, Java programming languages. Can also communicate with frameworks such as COM, .NET, and all. Python uses in academic for learning a programming language or building a tools or building applications. Okay. In software quality, Python uses Okay, better than traditional readable code, therefore reusable and then maintainable. Python's supported programming paradigms are procedural, object-oriented, functional programming. Okay, robust. Many exceptional handlers to address all error scenarios in Python. Inbuilt memory management techniques that are also, you know, uh, one of the important, feature for Python popularity. Python is a first choice language, meaning students, developers look forward to learn since it is high demand. So these are the some of the reasons for Python popularity. Can you list Python supported reserved keywords? Yes, we have a def, return, if, else if, for, while, break, continue, try, except, final, with, global, non-local, class, del, and, or, true, false, lambda, asset, import, from, as, and so many. These are the reserved keywords. Okay, there is a specific purpose for having these keywords. You have to understand, and then you have to leverage them in writing your software programming. These keywords are reserved keywords, means has a specific definition given by the Python. You must have to understand them. When you say reserved keywords, this means reserved keywords cannot be used as a identifiers or variables. All Python reserved keywords contains a lowercase letters only. Okay, you could see the letters are lowercase. You can also find out like Python supported reserved keywords by importing keyword package and print the keyword.kw list. This actually displays all keywords that the Python support in that version. You could try it. Next, what is the namespace and what is the scope in Python? A namespace is a collection of names used to store the values of variables. It allows us to use same name for the different variables without causing any conflict and confusion. Python namespace are divided into three parts: local, global, built-in. Local means like the variables which we use in the functions. So these variables are local to the function. Global means across the model you can use the variable, right? And built-in. Built-in namespace containing all built-in names is created when we start the Python interpreter. Exists as long as the interpreter runs. Basically tells a scope. Local variables are limited to function. Global variables are, the visibility of the global variables are entire module, and built-in functions, as long as the interpreter runs. That is how we say the local, global, built-in. Can you explain concept of local and global variables in Python? What you understand? Yes. Let's look at the sample program here. We have the variable outside of the function. So this is a local var test is a function. This function has a local variable, local var equal to 10, right? Outside the function we have one more variable. It's called a global variable. So local variables can be accessed within the function, but global variables can be accessed across the source file. That's an idea. So variables defined inside the function is known as a local variables. The scope is limited to function, cannot be accessed outside of the function. If you try to access the local variable from the same source code but outside of the function, then it throws an error. Okay, that's a kind of a idea. Okay, you could also see the trace back, which gives you like where the code went wrong. So interpreter throws an error or exception. Variables declared outside of the function is known as a global variables whose scope is visible to complete file, source file, including all functions. In all functions in that file is known as a global variable. Global variables are not created inside the function. When you create a variables inside the function, then those are known as a local variables, not a global variables. Next question. What is dynamically typed programming language? We have a two typed languages, statically, dynamically. C, C++, Java, these are a statically typed programming language. Means you have to declare the variable, whatever the type that the variable is going to store. Let's say integer, float, characters. You have to declare explicitly in those languages, because during the compile time it look for what type that we declared for that variable. If you miss to declare, then it is throw an error. Whereas in the dynamically typed programming language, we don't need to declare the variables what as a specific type. Variable type is a dynamic, means during the runtime it will assign the type of the variable based on the what value that you are storing. But the one thing that you have to make a note in the dynamically typed language, you can't declare the variable unless you initialize them. So if you want to have the variable, means like the variable should be assigned its value. But that is how a dynamically typed language works. So Python is a dynamically typed language. Okay, so you should have to, means need to assign and initialize the variable. If you use like an uninitialized variables like in other programming languages, then it's throw an error. Okay, so no need to declare a type of variable. Based on context, the interpreter assign the data type to the variable at runtime depending on its value. That's why Python is a dynamically typed language. You can see here var equal to 10, you print the value, print the type of the value. So what it says is like a 10 of class int, integer object in this case. Now for the same variable, you assign the string here. Yeah, it's allowed in Python. Okay, then you can see the type is now string. So same variable can be of different type based after the uses in your source code. Do you understand now? Python is a dynamically typed programming language. Next question. What does this hashtag symbol do in Python? Hash symbol. Let's look at a sample program. I have two lines in my program. The first line starts with a hashtag symbol. Okay, so the Python interpreter treats this line as a non-executable statement, right? This is for the for readability point of view, user can actually create some statements describes about the code, logic, whatever it is, right? Code readability point of view, use it. But this is a non-executable statement. Okay, the other one, printf statement. This is like a executable statement. So interpreter interprets this and execute, and the result is displaying this string on the console. But look at this also is called a comment line, right? So hashtag is used for comment the line. If comment starts with the hashtag, the Python interpreter will ignore them from execution. Comments can be used to make the code more readability. What do you do for multi-line comment in Python? We have seen like a single line comment like this one, right? But if I wanted to have like a multiple lines commented at one go, what you would do? Yes, we have two options. One is Every line can be commented using like hashtag. Otherwise you can use like a a triple quote. So Python supports multi-line comments. How you do that? You enclose it with 3 quotes this way. When you do this without having any compile, exception errors, you could see the output. So comment starts with hashtag, which means like a Python interpreter will ignore them from execution. Comments can be used to explain the Python code. Comments can be used to make the code more readability. Python supports multi-line comments, so you can do that by enclosing 3 quotes like I show here. What are Python supported data types? This is important question. First thing, data types are the classifications of the data items. It represents the kind of the value that it holds. In Python we have a numeric, dictionary, boolean, set, sequence type and none. These are the basic data types. Within numeric we have integer, float, complex, octa, hexadecimal. In sequence type we have a string, list, tuple. Data type determines the amount of memory that can be allocated to store the value. You might know that basic data types means like int, float, bool, string, byte, complex. Container data types means like a list, tuple, set, dictionary. And then we have a user defined data type is known as a class. These are the data types that you see in Python. Next, what are the rules for creating Python identifier? Python identifier should start with alphabet character or underscore. Identifier can be combination of uppercase A to G, lowercase a to G, or numbers 0 to 9 or underscore. Reserved keywords cannot be used as an identifier, right? Like a for, while, those keywords. Identifier should not contain white spaces. Identifier cannot use special symbols like at the rate, hashtag, dollar and all. Identifiers are case sensitive, right? So let's say like 2 keywords, number and number. One starts with the uppercase, one starts with the lowercase. These two will be treated as a 2 different variables. Okay. Widely used naming conventions are camel case. The first letter of the case word is capitalized, but first letter of the identifier is a lowercase. These are the the rules that we use in Python to create a identifiers. Last question for this session. What is different between mutable and immutable data types? Mutable means a changeable collection. That means they can change at a runtime. Immutable means unchangeable collection. That means they cannot change at runtime. If you look at, we have a container types, right? String, list, tuple, set, dictionary. These are the data types. You can see them mutable or immutable. String is immutable, is like an unchangeable at runtime. List mutable is a changeable. Tuple immutable, unchangeable. Okay, set immutable means unchangeable. Dictionary mutable and changeable. So mutable means changeable collection. That means like they can change at runtime. Immutable means unchangeable collection. That means they cannot change at runtime. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, click on bell icon and leave the comments. Happy learning. Thank you. Stay tuned to upcoming sessions.